Hi everyone, I'm Rebecca Keppel. I'm here for Poppystamps today. They have a brand new Halloween fall release. It's so much fun. I wanted to show you a couple of the products that I used and also show you how I adhere really thin die cuts. So this is the Costumes for Cats set. It's a stamp set that also has a coordinating die set. I am going to ink up these stamps in my MISTI with the My Favorite Things hybrid ink because I am going to be Copic coloring these. So I'm going to stamp it once, and then I looked at the outline. I felt like it could have been a little bit darker, and the beauty of using the MISTI is that I can stamp it again and get that perfect dark outline impression. I am going to keep the stamps in my MISTI because once I color them, I am going to stamp it a third time. And that just helps if you color over any of the lines to keep it nice and clear. So I am just doing very basic Copic coloring here, really nothing fancy. I do grab a couple of oranges so that I can do some shading, just a little bit underneath the cats that are hanging over the top and then down at the bottom where it would be resting on the ground. And for the mummy cat, I grabbed some of my light C's, like a C1 and C3, just to add a little bit of shading to the areas under the bandages, just so that it doesn't completely look stark white. And then also for the vampire cape, I used some grays rather than just completely black so that you can still see the stamping there. So I'm going to finish coloring up my cats. For the vampire cat, I am going to make him brown so that there's a little bit of a different color there. And I'm going to make one of the little kittens out of the pumpkin a light brown as well. So I kept everything exactly where it was in my MISTI, and I'm going to ink them up a third time, close the door. I had the paper exactly where it was last time, and you can see you get a nice crisp image that way. These coordinating dies are very easy to use because they are cut out in the center, so you can line them up pretty easily and use some washi tape to hold them in place and send them through your die cut machine. I had forgotten one other tiny little stamp that I wanted to use. The little pumpkin there has a jack-o'-lantern face that you can use or not use depending, and I wanted to use it, so I just put it on an acrylic block. I'm using the same ink so that everything matches perfectly, and I'm just going to press that down on my little pumpkin to create that jack-o'-lantern face that I think is just super cute. So the next thing that I'm going to do is cut out some of these dies. And you can see that little Halloween fence, the crooked fence, and the Happy Halloween sentiment, and those tiny little pumpkins. Those are the doodle jack-o'-lanterns. Everything is very tiny, very fine. So my favorite way to adhere dies like that, die cuts like that, is to use Thermoweb's iCraft Easy Cut adhesive, which is a double-sided, very thin adhesive that can run through your die cut machine. So I grabbed a piece of orange cardstock, cut it down to a small size, and then cut down a piece of the iCraft, adhered it to that orange cardstock but left the backing on there. I'm going to put my die face down on the cardstock, and then when it comes out it will have this sticky back that will create like a sticker, and it just makes it a lot easier to adhere. You don't have to mess around with liquid glue or anything like that when you have such a teeny tiny little fine detail like these Halloween sentiment dies. So once you have die cut them and they have the iCraft on the back, then all you have to do is peel off the release paper there, poke them out of the die first. Of course, I'm using my Spellbinders tool-in-one to do that, and then just peel off that release paper and you can stick it right down. So I'm going to do that with all of these little dies. You can see with the fence that I cut 2 pieces of fence because I wanted to run it all the way across my card, and I'm going to double up on part of them. And I'm going to grab these little doodle jack-o'-lanterns. You can see that they have tiny little eyes and mouths cut out of them. You could cut out a different color and try and paper piece them together. I didn't have that kind of patience today, so I decided to use a pretty yellow card base. These cards are from Memory Box. They are a standard A2 card size. Now I'm going to use some tape runner and start adhering my little characters down. I decided to switch the sides so that you could see their little tails because I think the tails are absolutely adorable. And now I'm going to put down my little doodle jack-o'-lanterns. Again, I don't have to adhere those because I have the iCraft Easy Cut adhesive on the back. And I am going to adhere all of those down, and then I'm going to take my little fences and I'm going to put one side with a little bit hanging off and then line up the other side so that one of the posts is on top of each other. Then just flip the card over and trim off the edges. So next is the happy. Again, that has the double-sided adhesive on the back, so I just had to pull off the release paper for that one. The little moon, I did not use the double-sided adhesive, so I just added some tape runner to that. I have a couple more stamps from the same stamp set, just a little boo sentiment, and then a tiny little spider that I'm also going to stamp with the hybrid black ink. Once all that's done, I'm going to add a little bit of shimmer with Wink of Stella on the moon and on the flames that are inside the jack-o'-lantern's mouths. I'm going to use some Tonic Studios Nouveau Crystal drops in green to add stems to those doodle pumpkins because I didn't feel like dealing with those little die cuts. And then I'm going to use the Tonic Studios Nouveau Crystal glaze just on top of all of those pumpkin faces. And last but not least, I'm going to grab some Tonic Studios Nouveau Crystal drops to cover up the spider and then to add a little web that the spider's hanging from. And that completes my card for the day. I hope you are enjoying checking out this brand new release. If you want to look down below, I'll have all the products that I used today linked. Go over to Poppystamps blog and you'll have a chance to win that jack-o'-lantern die set, that little doodle jack-o'-lanterns. I want to thank you so much for stopping by today. Have a wonderful day.